But if AI can help us cure cancer or get people better diagnoses because the doctors are so busy, I'm excited by all of it. Excited and terrified
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
same time. And
me
it's
too.
happening so quick. It's really hard to process it.
Hi, Rachel.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, and you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good, good.
good. Thank you so much for your time. A pleasure to talk to you, and especially to talk about Upload, which I really enjoy all the seasons, and very excited about season three. So, let's start right there. What we can
Sure.
expect this time around, season three.
Oh, we are a little bit more in the real world. In so you've have you seen season three? You have seen it, right? So yeah.
I did,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
some
So
people did not.
I'm sure these aren't spoilers, but yes, this time we're a little bit more in the real world because we have two Nathans. We have a new, fresh body that's been printed for Nathan, and he's out in the real world, falling in love and experiencing all the weirdness to being back in a human body. Meanwhile, we also have another Nathan, a digital copy in Lakeview, falling back in love with his girlfriend. His name is just completely blanking on me, but and that's the really fun thing is that we have like these two Nathans getting together, and of course they start to bro out and hang out and have little conflicts, but mostly they get along quite well. And with that, we're beginning to build the world a little bit bigger in the way that we're not just in this beautiful Lakeview environment, which is obviously we know is an online thing and very perfect and idyllic. We're seeing more of the other side of the have and the have-nots with the struggles of everyday life, and the hardships of getting by, and these new worlds, like what large scale corporate farming looks like these days, and hard work, and the struggles for real estate, and technology, and how it integrates into the human experience. So I think that was the biggest thing, is just like expanding our world out of Lakeview even more and seeing more about how humans interact with the world in the future and
Yeah.
fall in love.
Yes, we know that like the words and the like Lakeview, LA, Brooklyn, everything involved. But what was like the
Yeah.
inspiration for season three? The inspiration that you have to create those like bigger, let's say bigger sets.
Um, so let's say when they go live with their mom in the reduced circumstances co-housing, that inspiration was something that this billionaire Charlie Munger had donated. His legacy, his inspiration to the University of California were these windowless dorms. And we all found them quite horrifying when Greg told us about it, and just instantly Googled it, like, there's no way this is real. And it was. And so that was really inspiring to put into our show, in the way that the middle class, it's not just like what we would traditionally consider the lower income people. It's like in the future, 15 years from now, even the middle class has to be living into these co-sharing experiences where you have no real privacy, you have limited, you don't have windows because you have to maximize the floor space. You lose your sense of dignity, but you're living communally, and maybe that's supposed to be a great thing. But ultimately, it's not always great. It's often demeaning and embarrassing. Um, and that the other inspiration for building that set would be, when you're on 15 years in the future, you're like, where are our resources? And our resources are not just cutting down trees or even making concrete really anymore, because we're running out of sand. Like, we're running out of these assets that the earth brings us. So like everything should be made out of the exact same material. I think that if you took all the plastic bottles and waste and you put it into a big sludge and you compress it and you put it in with maybe some sort of resin or bonding agent, and then you would come up with this like disgusting gray thing, like just kind of like a weird mix of Crayola colors. And then I was like, well, then they maybe try to make it lively, so they would add pink to it. So that's why we have this like strange pink, beigey gray hue to that set. And I just like, everything should just be made out of the exact same thing. It's modular building, goes together like Lego. You could build it anywhere. So that, yeah, the inspiration was like, how do we use real materials in the real world moving forward? Because
Yeah.
we're running out of them. Which also then with Holden's apartment, which is this beautiful like architectural digest forward apartment for the successful single woman, her technology is incredibly integrated into her life, where it walks in and it greets her, and it's very zen. And the TV, is like a digital art form. It's on the wall, and it's like dappled light, and the plants grow by themselves when you're away. Everything just takes care of itself when you're away. You don't really have to bother with it. The oven will tell you how to cook. It will have screens that come up. But I was inspired by the idea that even real estate now is going to be even worse in the future, where it's incredibly unattainable. Like, it's so expensive no matter how much you hustle. But if you can't afford to live in your own apartment, the area of town isn't as important anymore. Like, it's important, but what also would be incredibly show of wealth or an aspirational idea would be that your building would actually have been made with real brick and real wood, which contrasts like where the middle class are now living in these like conformed plastic modular living structures. That hers is like, I've got real wood joists and real wood beams, and so design the ceiling to open in a way that it's got this diamond cutout, so it's like a display of it. It's like, look, this still exists. It's like an archaeological dig in a museum where they've protected the past but displayed it in a really beautiful way. So that's why the exterior apartment is kind of like, when you look at it, you're like, oh, that's just like, looks like a downish or not a very posh, bougie part of town. But it's about the inside. It's like, yes, but this building is like a jewel because it's historical, and historical now means like actually made from real wood. So you show it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And what I like the most about the series, because since season 1, we've been talking about this kind of educating us some solutions that we can have for the future. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if you think about like 15 years, it's not that far. You know what I mean? It's right there. So
that's a good point.
I love that.
Actually, that we try to make that 15-year reach into the future not really like we're doing it like putting a big sign or a big flashing light on it. It's like technology just becomes more seamless, smaller and more beautiful and more integrated. It's less of a status symbol and more just the way that you live your life. It makes your life easier. So we approached this season, I wanted to approach all of our technology props that we're building, like the electronic, the EV car charger, the head scanner, and the hologram table in the way that you would as an industrial designer. Like, how in the real world, if this was a real thing, what scale would it be? How big would the battery be? Kind of like if it came out of the think tank of Apple, how would these things look? So it was all about like less is more, but really beautiful, tiny little details, like little tiny bezel edges and countersunk screws. And we just looked at tons and tons of industrial products. But one of my favorite realizations was the hologram table, like the hologram boardroom.
Yeah.
Because I love bringing like the old and the new together. Like, just because we're in the future doesn't mean that we just dump the past, but we probably even have a stronger attachment and nostalgia for it. But I think we did this quite well with the hologram chairs, where it's the silhouette of a wingback chair curved. And that's, if you're showing up at the boardroom in a hologram, then you appear in this tech. The tech is the silhouette see-through wingback chair thing. And so everyone still has a seat at the table. You're not just like a floating avatar, and while everyone else is just sitting into black chairs.
Yeah, I love it. It's so good. And also right now everybody's talking about AI, artificial intelligence,
yeah.
And you guys have been touching that topic, and you've been researching about that for quite some time to do the show, right? What do you think that AI is going to lead us?
It is not a question that I think it's a thought experiment I have all the time, and it changes weekly. I mean, it's not going away. I think we have to look at it as its intelligent assistance. Like, look at it in the way that it can help you. Can it help you autocorrect, like write a better email, or do something that's really like, if we're coming up with 10 names for, let's say, a fake drink, right? Maybe there's an assistant in there, because you're probably going to come up with those names anyways, but it cuts down on the grunt work and makes your creative time yourself the more enjoyable time. But I think in the future, hopefully, well, which is now, because it's changing every week, AI is going to completely reframe how we cherish what humans make. And I tell people, just hold on to those handwritten letters, because they are the gold star of the future. Anything that a human touched, a painting, anything that was made by hand will be just put up on a pedestal so much. And I don't think that will ever go away, because humans are always humans. But if AI can help us cure cancer or get people better diagnoses because the doctors are so busy, I'm excited by all of it. I'm excited and terrified at the same time. And it's happening so quick. It's really hard to process it. But we were looking into it and we're a little bit aware of it. And I had a moment where I looked out into the art department and I was like, wow, these guys here, like, they have no idea. Like, once I realized in my office what was coming, I was like, ooh, yeah, I wonder how it's going to change. So I encourage everybody in my art department to not be afraid of it and to start using it as a tool. Get in there and learn what's out there, learn what Midjourney, DALL-E, ChatGPT are doing, so that you don't have to be scared of it when everyone else is talking about it. And then just dive in, learn it, and then get over the thrill and the fear of it immediately, and then realize what its limitations are for you and where it can help you as a creative person, as a tool, so that it's just like another tool that you have in your kit, like Photoshop.
Yeah, that's amazing. Rachel, yeah, I know it's scary, but it's maybe in some ways is necessary. So I just want to thank you so much for your time. A pleasure to meet you and keep bringing
Thank you.
amazing. I hope we have season 4 for upload, and let's see.
I think so.
I hope so.
All right.
I hope so too.
Thank you
so much. Bye.
Bye.
If you like this video, don't forget to comment, to like, and subscribe to our channel right here.